Yo,
Hello,
what's up, man?
hello. How's it going?
It's going okay. How about you?
I'm all right. A bit busy today, but that's all right. It makes the day go by quicker, especially for a Monday.
Yeah, it's been a pretty slow Monday for me, actually.
Gotcha.
Um,
All right. Well, anyways, let's get to it. I saw that you sent me the replay. I've got it downloaded already, and I think we're good to go. So was there anything that you really wanted to focus on, or any questions that you had specifically for me, or did you just want me to go over the replay just in general and kind of pick apart some things that I see?
um, well, I know that my positioning is pretty poor on some aspects in my
Oh,
challenges. I
okay.
get confused on when to challenge, so those are really the main things.
Okay.
But to pick apart it would probably be good
Okay.
overall.
All right. Sounds good. All right. I am recording this session, so I'll upload it to my GCR YouTube playlist for
Mhm.
later. But I'll share my screen here in Discord and we can go over everything real quick.
Okay, that sounds fun.
And then I usually like to kind of prescribe and go into free play afterwards and kind of maybe demonstrate some things that so if there are different like mechanics or perhaps something more, mechanically inclined that I could probably recommend, you to train on, then I'll probably do that afterwards as well.
Okay, that works.
Okay. Let me share my screen here. I'm gonna have to stream it kind of a lower quality just for right now, just while I record this at the same time. But like I said, the higher quality version will be available on YouTube at a later time.
Okay,
So you should be able to see my screen. Can you see my drawing on screen as well? The yellow kind of everywhere.
I can. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, then we should be good to go. So I do have the Bacchus mod anonymizer stuff turned on right now. So you'll have to tell me, were you orange or blue in this replay? Because I think it was actually it was 4-3 in this one. So if we look
I
one,
won this
two,
one, so
3, 4, it looks like 4 goals for orange. So I'm betting you're orange here.
I'm
So
probably going to.
all right, let's do it. So first off, actually, before I get into it, what rank are you currently in ones?
Uh, I'm Plat 3 Div 4.
Okay, cool,
Trying to get down to 1.
gotcha. Okay, so right off the bat, this is actually one of the very few kickoffs I would not recommend doing like a diagonal flip or a speed flip on. Oftentimes, a lot of people will overcomplicate this. So generally speaking, when you're on like a diagonal kickoff, you want to do a diagonal flip to kind of get more center to the ball, right? And that's where doing a speed flip or a diagonal flip is best. But the difference that you get from doing a speed flip or a diagonal flip here is very minimal because you're already facing forwards and you can afford to boost straight, a little bit longer. So you can pick up more pads. So I would maybe just not try to speed flip this, and I would just recommend to front flip through this one. Um, and that's all I really have to say about that. Again, take my words kind of with a grain of salt. But the difference that you get in speed from a speed flip here into just a regular front flip is very minimal. So, and it'll help you because now the fact that you're actually going, you go straight, then you go off course, then you have to correct, and then go straight again to hit the ball. It's like, okay, well, why would you overcomplicate a lot of this processing? Because then you add another point where you can screw up, right? So why not just cut out all this extra stuff here and just go straight for the ball?
Okay,
It's
that
kind of
makes
just
sense.
my general rule on that. We can probably go over the diagonal kickoffs when we come to that. Decent possession play there. To be honest with you, I think this would be one of the cases where right now you don't know exactly where the ball is landing. You can see that your field of view is just straight up, right? You're looking at the night sky. This is actually one of my favorite maps, but you should be prioritizing on landing and catching the ball because if this actually bounces, off the wall and then say you get a bad read, like say you get a touch like right here, for example, you could potentially own goal this. So I would definitely recommend to turn ball cam off right here and you'll get a view like this. Because now imagine, like I said, if this bounces and it bounces right here and then you go to catch it and you accidentally catch it right here and then it goes straight in your net, that kind of a thing could happen. The other outcome is that, say it bounces out here and you just hit it straight. Well, then at that point, since your field of view is straight up, you don't know where your opponent is at, right? So he has a chance of dunking you or trying to predict that you're going to hit it across. So he could basically just shoot it straight in your net too. So at that point, it would be best to try to just get on the left side of the ball and catch it somewhere right in here. That way you can bring it out safely away from your net. And it would be much easier to do that from this field of view.
Okay.
So a lot of that comes down to just how much information do you have at the moment in this play, right? So you'll have a lot more info in this kind of position rather than this kind of position. So I'm gonna guess, and this is just my hypothesis, but I bet this same idea will apply throughout the rest of your replay. That's often the case with lower ranks, is that it's not necessarily that you have bad decision making, but like you said, your positioning can be kind of awkward sometimes. You're not quite sure where to go. I bet a lot of that might come down to how much info you have off to to work off of at a point. So we'll go over that, I'm sure, in a little bit here. There you go. I like that. Yeah, I think the second you realize that you have this guy beat here, your first priority should now be to take that boost from him in this midfield, because then that way he can't go back. And then I would actually say, because this ball is so high up, right? It's actually going to be at the very top, so it's actually going to go all the way like this and roll down. So I would actually say grab this boost pad and just turn off ball cam and just say screw the ball, screw the play. Take this boost, drive straight to his boost and steal this one too, to be honest with you. Because then that negates any chance of him being able to steal this ball from you and being able to turn quick and go. Especially at this lower rank where, yeah, if you just grab this boost and grab that boost, then you'll be in a much better spot. Because now that he grabs that boost, he's already ahead of you, and he's got both boost and ball possession, and now you only have 30. So all that offense that you just built is basically nothing. And the chance that you got this dunk is, think about the percentage chance of that happening. It's very little,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
just based off of probabilities, that should not have happened. But this is platinum, so welcome to platinum.
Um, yeah, what you're saying makes more sense about grabbing those boosts.
Yeah. I would say if you can, try to get used to doing a diagonal flip here. So this is one of the cases where doing a diagonal flip would actually help. So I would recommend doing something like this where you drive here, and as your front wheels pick up this boost pad here, you're gonna flip and do a diagonal flip. So that way you try to land on like the circle right on the outside of the ball, because then that way you'll have like a little bit of distance between here and the ball to kind of adjust to your opponent. And then actually, ideally, you would flip here. You'd land before the ball. You'd have some amount of time to adjust. Then most of the time, you want to try to side flip into the ball, either right or to the left. Because then that way you're pushing the ball in the same direction as your car. Whereas if you front flip, if you think about it, you're trying to push your car through another like almost immovable object, which is your opponent's car, right? He's a solid rock where he's also flipping and going to have pretty much an equal force against you. So instead of trying to just push it straight through him and go for a win, try to do a side flip and push this in either direction. So if you're landing on like the left side, you typically want like just slightly off center, you typically want to flip to the right. So that way your car can have the most amount of surface area on the ball, behind you. So that way you can redirect it in the direction you want. So in this case, I would probably recommend to do a diagonal flip and try to land a little bit on the right side here, then do a side flip to the left. So that way both you and the ball go to the left side.
Okay. Let's say he does like get a better 50 than me.
Mm-hmm.
How can I get back quickly?
Sure. So that's where the diagonal flip really comes in handy, right? So in this, you're actually driving all the way through this boost pad, right? So even by the time you pick it up, you're already using it all, halfway before you even get to the ball. So that's where using a diagonal flip will actually let you get to the ball faster, and it will be more efficient. So I actually have a YouTube video on my YouTube channel going over kickoffs, and it's actually more team oriented for 2s and 3s in case you want to like redirect the ball in a certain way, but it's also applicable for 1s as well. So we can go over that. I can go over kickoffs as well, and like how to do each diagonal kickoff and all that kind of stuff after this. So I'll show you how to use like when to flip and how to save boost and stuff like that. So I'll jot that down here and we can go over that after this.
Okay.
So ideally you would be grabbing this boost pad, and if you think about it, so since you're driving on like the right side, right, you're not actually driving away from the ball too much. So that's why a diagonal flip here might feel a little awkward, because now if you diagonal flip, if you're going almost straight at the ball and you diagonal flip, you might actually be going off course like that, right? So that's where you really want to be going kind of at this boost pad rather than to the right side of it. So let me back up here. So you really want to be driving straight at the boost pad, and then a diagonal flip to the right will actually put you straight on course.
Okay. I think that makes sense.
There you go. Not a bad position. I really like the fact that you're creeping up here a lot because your opponent doesn't really demand a lot of respect, right? Because he's on the backboard. So the chance of him just getting a booming clear straight to your net by the time you can't, there's a very, very little chance that you can't get back to it. So I like the fact that you push up this, this forward, especially with 100 boost, right? So you're actually in a really good spot so far. A point where you might not want to push up this far is if you have little boost, like, 30 or less, because then you might not be able to turn around and go fast enough. The other chance position where you might not want to push up this far is if he actually grabbed his boost or is already on the ground, like right here somewhere. Because then, you don't know how much boost he has. He might have 100 and he might just be able to turn around and, push it straight to your net without you being able to turn around and get back. So the fact that he's on the wall already it makes it pretty clear that you can push up this far. At higher ranks, I will say that this ball can be cleared a lot farther, and basically this can be a shot, believe it or not. So, but that won't really happen, I don't think, until like high diamond or champ lobbies. But just something to note.
Okay.
There you go. I'd say if anything, this would be another scenario where taking ball cam off or going into car camera might help you out. So again, it's the idea that you know exactly where to catch the ball. Because now with ball cam, it may help you keeping your field of view this way on the net, and also to see if he might challenge. But I would argue that since he's already landing up here, behind you somewhere, that you have the opportunity to basically just turn around, catch this ball, and drive it straight into the net if you're good enough. And again, that all really depends on how good your catch is right here, and you have to catch it on the right side of this ball to be able to turn it and go straight into the net. So I think this would be a similar situation to where before, if you just turn car camera on and you get used to catching the ball, this is a scoring opportunity for sure. So again, that all goes off of that information, right? And even though it's very slight here, it's not that much of a difference just between, you know exactly where the ball is, but just knowing where your car will hit the ball, that's the difference. Because now you caught it, but you're not turning quick enough like into it to push it straight to the net. And I think that might be more apparent if you have car camera on.
Okay.
Ooh, there you go. Okay, so this would be another situation where I would recommend to steal his boost. You had a little bit of a mechanical whiff there. I'm not going to grill you too much for that. That kind of stuff happens every once in a while. The idea here that once you realize he's already here blocking the goal, if you can't go immediately for a shot, like if this ball was right here, I'd say almost try to push this in for a shot, since the net is open for just a brief amount of time. But since he pretty much has this covered by the time you get to it, I would actually argue just hit this to the corner and steal his boost again. There are a lot of times where this guy will basically try to back off, or he should back off, I should say, if he doesn't have a good, amount of boost. So this would be another chance where you could have prioritized the boost, where where you were going downfield like this on the wall earlier. This is another situation where you can just be like, all right, let me just try to push this to his corner, ignore the ball and ignore him for a second and grab his boost, because then you can always turn around and go again, and you'll still have 100, and you're kind of boost draining him at that point. So it's just about creating opportunities, and since you don't have to score here, or since you can't score here, it's maybe just about creating an opportunity for you in like 5 or 10 seconds. So even when you get this challenge, it's actually still good. It would just be a little more perfect if you knew to air roll and kind of land on your wheels here, and then you could still get on the ground and take his boost and turn around. So a bit more mechanical there, but it's doable for sure. So there you go. That's another situation where you just kind of say, screw the play, I'm just going to grab boost and get behind it. There's a lot of opportunities like that in ones for sure. Okay, so I'm actually going to talk about defensive positioning on this. You didn't do too bad. I'd say you got about 50% on this play. So you're good here. You grab boost. and your opponent is hitting it towards your net. So I'm actually going to go into a different kind of field of view. So I'm going to talk more in generalities for just a second. So not specifically to just this play, but imagine that there is a line between the ball and the goal, right? So if there is a perpendicular line on the goal here, generally speaking, if the ball is coming on, say like the right side of the field, and say you're also dropping back, generally speaking, this is a point where you're shadowing, right? Where you and the ball are going on the same side of the field. In this case, the right side of the field. In general, you either challenge and turn like this, where you feel like, okay, now's a good time to challenge, or now I can kind of surprise him. Or your other opportunity is to wait until he shoots and go along parallel with the goal, right? And the idea here is that you have the entire net in front of you at any given point. So I kind of positioned this a little awkward here, but imagine the ball is more back here, right? So imagine if you're shadowing like this, and you do one of these, and you start driving like this. Well, then if he actually just shoots to the top corner here, now you actually have to turn around the other way, and since you're turning around, you're ahead of the ball. Your camera will be backwards, so your left will be right, your right will be left, that kind of a thing, as the shot is coming at you. And it'll be super awkward to do another turnaround, like another 180 to hit the right side of the net here. And then even if he shoots to the left, now you have to, even if he shoots on the same side, you still have to figure out, okay, is it right or left? But the controls are actually reversed. So it's just a whole lot more processing that you have to manage, even subconsciously, right? So I like the fact that you stay on this side of the ball, on this side of the field, and tried to attack it. So, like I said, you got about half of this right, and half of this is just based on positioning. So this is going to be a general rule that I'd like people to follow at like lower ranks and stuff. Is this? It just cuts out a lot of the even subconscious, thought process.
Rather do more frequently, like push it while he's taking it down the field, or go back to like the goal line
Go
and
back to
try
the
to
goal
defend it
line
there.
for go back to the goal line for sure. Because
Okay.
for multiple reasons actually. If you challenge early, especially from the side, there's a high chance that he can see you coming at the ball. So if he sees you turning, um, then there's more likely a chance that he can just double jump or flick it over you. Um, and then the second option is that, or the second reason is that if you stay at the goal line and you actually do get a save, you force him to push up into your net, basically. So if you do get a save, he'll more than likely end up in your net, and you can basically just drive it straight into the goal. So those are
Okay.
probably the two big ones.
Okay. When like would a situation arise to challenge Oli?
I'll explain that here in a second. All right, I think we should be good to go. All right, you should be able to see my screen again. Let me make sure my pen software is working.
I just see a black screen right now.
Oh, really? Let me make sure. Oh, I don't think I was sharing the right thing. Okay, how about that?
Nope.
Really?
um. Here. Do you want to try to restart the call on Discord?
Oh, that might work. Yeah, I think because the call stayed, didn't it?
It did. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll call you right back. All right, let me see if this works now.
Yeah. There it
All
is.
right, there we go. And you should be able to see my drawings again. The
I
yellow.
can. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right, so sorry about that. That was super inconvenient. All right, let's go ahead here. So I think we were right at the point where he was scoring. So you said you had the question of when to challenge, right?
Hmm.
There's a couple things. So you'll hear Randy talk a lot. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his videos. Are you even season 4? Or are you an earlier
I'm
season?
season 4. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. There's a lot of people I haven't met yet in season 4, so I don't really know. Okay. Have you watched Rainey's 1v1 masterclass video at all?
I've watched parts of it.
Okay. In that video, he talks about something called height potential. And this is a perfect situation where you would want to drop back. So where if you challenge at any point, your opponent already all he has to do is just double jump straight into this ball and it will be over you, right? So there's a lot of height
Your
potential
screen
there.
went black again.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah, I don't know
Huh.
what it's doing.
All I'm doing is just sitting in Rocket League. That is so weird.
Um,
You know what? Let me see here if I can just stream Rocket League. I don't think you'll be able to see my drawings, but does this work from here?
no,
Oh my lord.
I don't know what Discord's doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Can change, you know what? I can try to change this. You said it's just a black screen. Can you try to hit like stop watching on that?
Okay.
Here, let me go back to streaming my screen because there might be something up with that. Okay, there we go. It should
Okay.
be good.
There.
I was
Now.
gonna say, yeah, sometimes you may have to hit like stop stream and then restart it that way. But okay, so there is a thing called height potential. So it's basically any time where you think the opponent has a really good pop on the ball, really good height, because that makes the play way more dangerous, right? Because it's not only that you actually have to turn at the right time, but you also have to turn at the right height. So you may have to shoot, you may have to block up high, you may have to block mid, or you may have to block low, right? So it just is way more complex whenever you have to turn for the ball like that. So this would be one where I wouldn't quite challenge just yet, just because the ball is already at a medium to high height and your opponent is sitting underneath it. So all he has to do is just double jump underneath the ball and he can basically pop this straight into your net. So that's basically what happens here. A situation where you would want to challenge is if the ball is on the ground, because then you know you eliminate the high possibility and the medium possibility of it just going over you at any point. So all you got to worry about is just timing it right to make sure that he doesn't get it past you. So basically, if he has it on the ground, it's, you just got to think, okay, how much do I have to respect him at any given point, right? If he's got the ball on the ground, well, then you know, okay, he's not just magically going to flick it over me. Um, and he's not going to be able to just double pop it over me or anything like that. So he doesn't have a whole lot of maneuverability if the ball is on the ground. And then another factor is the speed, right? So say he's got the ball on his car, like flat on his car, and he's kind of wobbling around. He doesn't have a whole lot of speed, and he kind of hasn't demonstrated that he's got really good flick potential. Then I would say, yeah, just challenge right away. Um, so if he has already demonstrated, so say you are like halfway in the point or in the game, and he's already flicked you a couple times, okay, then maybe try to just wait. If you've challenged him already and he can flick it over you, then that would be a situation where you go back, right? That's where you have to adapt. If he hasn't shown potential that he can dribble very well, then just start challenging him early and see how it goes. If he gets it over you once or twice, then okay, maybe fake challenge and then go back, or just go back in general. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes
So a
sense.
lot of it just comes down to either the speed or physically, like where if the ball is on the ground or not. So this would be a situation where again the ball was already under his car, or he was already under the ball, and all he has to do is just get to it first. So he's already halfway to beating you. So that's a perfect scenario of having to just drop back.
Okay. All that makes sense, I believe.
Sure. Okay. I would actually take this boost and then drop back. He's more than likely going to beat you to this ball now almost every time, just because he landed closer and you don't really have a whole lot of boost either. So and the chance of him being able to grab this boost, then being able to turn around and go at your net is pretty immediate. Like pretty immediately is pretty slim to none at this level. So I would just take this boost, and you might even like, so say he grabs this boost and tries to catch it, you might actually be able to go for a demo here, just depending on where he's at. So I would say the chance of you getting scored on if you just grab this boost here is pretty slim. So I'd say just grab the boost. Oh, you actually did that. Nice. It looked like you weren't going to. Ooh, okay. So this is a point where you're trying to stay with the play maybe a little too much. Whereas if you had just turned around and did like a little U-turn or whatever, or even a circle, would have been perfectly fine. Because even if you just do like a little power slide turn, or even just kept your momentum and going, say you even go up to the wall like this and come at the ball this way, I'd say that would probably be preferred. Because now if you go like this, say you go on this corner and you come down this way, now you have even a better line just straight at his net. Whereas even if the best case scenario here is when you turn like this, you're basically going straight at him, right? So the chance of you even having a good outcome out of this turn is very slim. So this would be a situation where you just want to try to get a better position on the ball. And as you make this turn. If you see him push, then just turn back and go back to your back boost, right? And try to shadow it that way or go for a save. You're 1-1, and you guys have been pretty even so far, I'd say. It's not like he's basically popped it over you, and, you know, neither of you have really done a whole lot so far in this game. You're only a minute in. So I'd say maybe just try to play safe before you don't have a whole lot of confidence against this guy just yet. So I'd say, make another turn and try to get a better angle on it. And then if he challenges you, either take a 50, if it comes to that, or just drop back. And again, it all just comes down to like the percentages of like, okay, what's the percentage that a good thing is going to happen here in this play? There you go. I like the fact that you take it. There you go. Okay. All right. So this is actually a good scenario where, like I said, you just get away from the ball. You'll find that like when you have a good run up on the ball, it's much easier to hit it. So that was a good scenario where you just went ahead of it and you wait for it.
After I hit it on the wall there, what should I do next? Because I feel like I'm more awkward now after hitting it than I would have been
Sure.
prior.
I actually saw that you were turning, so you had a good chance here. This would be a scenario where, again, if you turn off ball cam, you can actually let this ball roll, and you can actually turn slowly with it, where you can pick up this pad and go up the wall like this with it. So you'll basically slow it down its momentum and go along with your car this way, and kind of go like this. And again, that requires really good ball control, but it's not too complicated. It's basically just knowing when to turn and how sharp to turn, right? And that basically all comes down to knowing how far away you are from the circle of the ball. So this has now been the third time where you've had ball cam on. And I like the fact that you have ball cam on, don't get me wrong. But I think the second you have this catch here, you can actually afford to turn ball cam off because you know he's basically pushing you at this point. So you can actually take this boost and try to do one of these and just slow the ball down and go like this. Because now this is one of the safest places to take a 50-50 is in your corner. And you'll hear Randy say that a lot. The fact that you actually take this boost and you avoid the demo is good, but then you're turning and giving him a chance to push it straight to your net. So you don't really want to do that. And then again, you see how awkward that was on the wall there. Whereas if you had just stayed with the ball first and made a 50-50, then you would have 100 boost here. You'd be taking a 50-50 roughly right here, and you'd be really close to it. Again, there's the idea that you're forcing him to go this far into your net. So now imagine if you're taking a 50-50 on your corner, you have 100 boost, and this guy has, like, even say he has 50. Well, then you take a 50-50 here. Well, where's it going to go? It's probably not going to stay in the corner. It's probably going to pinch out somewhere towards midfield, right? Then you have 100 boost. You can follow it. There's, again, a good chance that you can just drive it straight into the net. As far as what happens in this play, see how you give him the ball. So at this point, you actually turn towards the ball, but then you stop turning. I think you should have kept turning to the left here to try to cut it off. Basically, almost try to hit it back at him. See how you're turning left, then you stop turning and you actually go to the right. Well, now all you're doing is just setting it up for him. Whereas had you gone up the wall and actually done like this kind of cut to the left here, you could have actually basically hit it out, back to the corner here or out this way. So it would have been much safer for you rather than trying to hit it out, because now all this does is just land in front of your net. And if this guy was smart, this would have been a goal for sure. And I think you probably know that. Like there's a good chance that this guy was scoring this. Because yeah, look at that. All he's got to do is just get a roller on the ground, and yeah, you're still in the air. So all he's got to do is just get a roller on the ground, and it's a goal. So as far as what actually happens here when you hit the ball, though, to answer your question, finally, after you hit this ball, you kind of have to jump after it right away. And we'll talk about this more in free play. This will be another point, is jumping out and tilting your car back. So actually, you know what, Rick, I'm just going to keep the flow here. I'm actually just going to go into free play real quick, just so I can demonstrate how important this is. We'll go back to that replay. But anytime you think, like, when you are going for the ball in the air on the ground, so something like this, I jump and tilt my car back to meet the height of the ball, right? I'm jumping and tilting back. So that way I'm always hitting the ball with the nose of my car. The same thing applies on the wall. So if I'm on the wall, I jump and tilt back. Well, look where I'm going. I'm already going out towards the wall. And look, I can land. I can actually land almost at half field. If you do a double jump, oh, double jump and tilt back, you can actually almost land near half field with 0 boost, right? You can almost land in the middle of the field here. And that'll actually apply to a lot to like air drags and higher level mechanics too. So the idea is that as you go up the wall with the ball, you jump and tilt back. Well, now look, with a little bit of air roll, I'm already going towards the net. So that foundation already starts literally from the ground up. Being able to shoot like that, to being able to follow the ball off the wall. So that way when I hit it, I jump, tilt my car back. Well, now I'm just boosting at it. So the same thing applies here. I think you get the point, but I'll just show you. So after you hit the ball, you jump and tilt out. Like that. You get a much clearer, and you can see that the ball landed here rather than in front of your net.
So you're just jumping and tilting back.
Yep.
Essentially. Okay.
Yep. All right, let's get back to it. Hopefully that answers your question completely.
Yeah, that gives me options to do.
Yeah. All right, so I think we were, yeah, right here. Okay, cool. All right, so honestly, not a bad challenge. Again, this would be a situation where you can challenge, right? Because the ball, he doesn't have a whole lot of speed, and the ball is on the ground. I think if anything, you probably just flipped a little too late.
I find my 50-50s, I always mostly lose them.
Yeah. So you can look too. Look where your car is going. You're going this way. So even by the time you flip, you're not totally getting a lot of contact on the ball. You actually have to be aiming at the ball like this and then flipping to the right to cover the whole backside of it, right? So you can actually see that in action here. You're not covering anything not covering a whole lot of surface area on the ball, right? You're just covering like this little bit here. Well, yeah, obviously he's gonna be flipping this way. So guess where it goes? Behind you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you just entirely weren't really square on the ball, and you can see. Look at where he is. He's much more square on the ball. He's getting like half ball coverage already, and he's flipping to the left because he's trying to push it that way. Well, yeah, of course, now he wins this 50-50. So it's basically just like a kickoff. This is actually, I'm not kidding, this is almost textbook perfect position of taking a kickoff. Because he's jumping, he's hitting the middle of the ball, and he's flipping to the left to basically push it to where he wants. So now his car and the ball land where he wants to go. So that's basically textbook perfect, in my opinion. Nice ball.
Thanks.
Okay, so again, this would be another scenario where you don't know where he's at. Your field of view is to the sky. You have no idea where he is. You don't know, well, you know where he is, but you don't know if he's going to turn or not. So now there's that information gap, right? Where you don't know a lot of info about this play. So you're kind of forced to go in this situation. Because if you don't, there's a chance that he just goes and he dunks you. So your options are already limited just based off of the information that you have at your disposal right now. So again, this would be another, I'd say maybe the 4th or 5th time now, where if you had just taken ball cam off for just a split second, all you have to do is toggle it. You can actually just toggle it really quick and then you'll know. Or literally just look down on your stick just to see where he is over your car. That'd probably be the best option, honestly, because it's the quickest. Just flick your camera down. Then you'll know if you need to go or not.
I tend to boom it towards the middle of field whenever they're not going a lot, so.
Yeah. Honestly, you kind of have to go for this, right? Again, it's the idea that you're really limited in your info. So you hitting this here, think about this like logically. Like you met the ball, you jumped and tilted back. You boosted through it. You hit the ball roughly in the middle of the field or middle of the ball to hit it out almost towards that way. So you literally did, I'd say, almost the best you could. If anything, I'd say you probably boosted a little too much because now by the time you actually get to the ball, you're not even really boosting into it. But I'd say you did almost the best you could there with what you had, which, mind you, was very little.
Okay.
Okay, now he's super awkward. I'd say you can keep pushing up. This would be different if he was actually coming at you this way. but he's actually going to the middle of the field. So this would be another situation. Remember, like I said, he was awkward on the backboard here, the back wall. That'd be another similar situation here where you can actually afford to push up a little bit more, especially with 100 boosts that you have. Because now, look, now that you have all this space, oh my God, he literally just gave you the ball. No way.
I think I scored here, so
Yeah. Okay, but you see what I mean? Okay, now, again, he has very little info, and he has 36 boosts, so he's just like, all right, I'm super awkward off the wall. I'm just going to get rid of the play and go back. All that is based off of the very little info that he had. Had he actually just kept ball cam off and he just caught this, had he actually just caught this on the ground and kept control, I bet you wouldn't have challenged, and he would have kept control, and he could have basically still had ball possession and probably tried to score on you. But this is Platt, and he probably can't catch this maybe 1 out of 10 times. So, holy cow. There you go. You can see that entire like sequence, though, he had very limited information as well. So he just takes the safe route and goes back. And nice shot. Woo! That was a screamer. Holy. All right. So I like the fact that you... All right, I'm going to break this down, even though you did a really good job. I'm going to point out what you did good. So this is a bounce setup for sure. So I like the fact that, 1, you wait on the bounce. Number 2 is that, like I said, when the ball is in the air, you want to try to meet it in the air. But if the ball is bouncing, you want to take it off the bounce, but you don't want to jump like back here to where you're hitting the middle of the ball, right? You don't want to hit it right here. You want to hit it on the underside to cause it to go higher in the net. So I like the fact that you were matching the ball height. Like I said earlier, this would be the situation where you want to hit the underside of the ball, which is what you did really well here. So just wanted to point that out.
that's all the Coco aim training I do.
Hell yeah. There you go. Ooh, there's no way he's saving that. I bet that felt good.
I have a better one in here, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah? Okay, I'm not sure if you meant to double flip here, but honestly, this would be a situation where, kind of again, where you don't want to flip into the ball. See how this is a perfect example where you don't want to do it. Because now if you hit the middle of the ball, you're just rolling it straight to him on the ground. And
Okay,
now the fact that you double jump, you're taking yourself out of the play and you don't land until here. So if anything, if you notice that he's not going, it's the safest place to literally just drive into it and turn and get boost. Because then the ball will land here on the backboard or in the corner. Then you can turn and either make a play or, have pressure or whatever. And he'll be stuck in his corner and it'll be super awkward for him. So that's a situation where I would just not jump into the ball.
okay. I found myself in this situation when they don't go. I can't like recognize when they're not going fast enough. So when I get to the ball, I panic on what to do.
Sure. Well,
Actually,
let's see here. So you pick up the boost and you actually flip at a really good time. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. That might come down to, I don't know how automated your kickoffs are, right? At the high level, I bet you most pros could probably do their kickoffs basically blindfolded to where they can afford to just not even look at the ball. They just look at their opponents and adjust from there, right? So at some point, if you get really comfortable, you have to get really comfortable with kickoffs to where you can actually look at where he's at. So that's all I'm really going to say about that is just, if you're focused on trying to get the kickoff, you're not really going to have the spare time to look where he's at, right? So I think that'll come with time, to be honest with you.
okay.
I'd say don't try not to force yourself to like look at him too much, and kind of take yourself out of the game, because then it just really is at your detriment. Honestly, just focus on getting the right flips and getting the right boost management on kickoffs, and you'll do fine. And eventually you'll get there. Some things you don't have to always force it to try to get better at right away. Ooh. Decent try, I'd say. But again, that all comes back to the kickoff, right? Look where you land. Now you rolled it to him. You're just asking to get scored on, unfortunately. So at this point, you should be grabbing this boost, and this should be a diagonal flip the second you grab this boost to go straight to net. But the fact that you take this wide route, now look how far this is. We have to try to get behind it. So whereas you could just go straight to net and try to do like almost a little save this way, like that. It's just a little bit more direct, but the time difference is crucial here. Not saying that you can save it, but it would have been definitely closer for sure. Yeah, decent try. Oh, there you go. I actually really like that power slide turn. That was good. If anything, I would almost say when you do your turn, try to do a turn literally on the goal line. Don't be afraid to actually drop back like this. Because if you think about it, at a high level, they will literally just turn, shoot here, and they'll just shoot where their empty net is right here.
Mhm.
So I'd say try to cover more of that near post and try to go on the goal line. Because then, if you think about it, say the ball comes here, then you can just shoot straight on his net. That's an opportunity that will come up a lot for sure. Because look where he's at. He's in the corner. Now imagine if you came in like literally sitting right here. There's a good chance that this keeps rolling. Then you can just shoot it all the way to his net. Just a straight front flip. Nothing complicated. So I bet you that opportunity might come up more than you think at this low rank for sure. Because it certainly comes up for me in Champ and Grand Champ lobbies. Whoa. Okay, so yeah, this has been multiple times now where you're not comfortable catching the ball. So that'll probably be the number one thing that I will sort of prescribe to you as Dr. Avatarmanz.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I can definitely tell that you're not comfortable catching the ball like that. Woo, confident off the wall though. Gotta go for it. And you get a save here. You're not directly scored on. And you're 2-2. So you know what? Nice. Good save there. Yeah, don't be afraid to go for stuff like that, Obviously in ones it's more risky, but I'm not going to deter you from going for that stuff because otherwise you're never going to get it. I really like that challenge. This should definitely be a goal though. What makes this challenge really good, again, look, he doesn't have a lot of speed up until like the last second here. And the ball is basically on the ground. So this would be a good situation where you can turn and challenge. Now imagine if he had the ball on his car and he was ready to flick it, this would not be a good time to challenge. You would basically just want to keep dropping back and try to go for like a goal line save like that. So just wanted to point that out. There you go. Really good challenge. This would actually, you literally don't need to do anything else but just hit this on the front of your car. Let me go into hard camera because this is probably the easiest way to explain this. I'm sure you know what I'm going to talk about. You don't need to do anything else. You don't even need to jump. This is literally the simplest thing in the world. Have your car right here. My crude drawing of a car. You get the idea. Have literally the front of your car on the back side of it. You don't even need to do anything. You just literally let the ball hit your car, and it'll literally just roll straight in the net.
Okay. Yeah, as you can tell, I have bad timing issues when it comes to meeting the ground.
Yeah, so that's come up multiple times now, right? So that, like I said, that'll be the number one thing that we'll talk about for sure in free play. So we'll go over
My
that.
potato is a mess when
Yeah.
I do that. I will say that.
At least you know it, right? That's one thing that you're aware of it. So, hey, there you go.
Should I give him less room right here?
I think so. Honestly, your rotation here is fine. I like the fact that you really pick up these pads, which is awesome, right? I love the pads pick up. I don't know if you meant to do this on purpose or not, but this rotation is perfect. I think where you went wrong was actually you got these 3 pads here, then you actually rotated this way. Well, unfortunately, the goal isn't in the corner. It's halfway across the field this way, right? So you did this rotation. I would almost just keep pushing up this way, right? Because the ball is also on this side. The second he starts bringing the ball mid, that's where you want to kind of turn and shadow and do one of these, right? Because then the play will be going like this, and that's exactly what the shadowing situation that I talked about earlier, where then you can challenge at any point, or you can go back and make a goal line save like this. Oh, horizontal line there. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, because you're right now, the second you challenge like this and you go like this, well, unfortunately, you being here doesn't do you any good. You give him way more space, not only this way, but also this way, horizontally. So, yep. And I think you can tell, because, yeah, look, you being on the wall does you no good. Now he can bring it mid, and now by the time you even get down off the wall, he's already halfway to the ball again. Fortunately, I mean, honestly, if we look at this, he had 90 boost. If he was confident, which he seems to be, he seems pretty mechanical, honestly. He seems pretty decent. Say he boosts this whole way. I mean, look at all he's got to do is just double jump and just pop out the ball. Just hit the underside of it, and it's going a pretty decent shot in your net again. So I don't know why he turned off of this. He actually had a really good position. All right, you're shadowing the ball. There you go. Decent shot. A little bit more mechanical mistake there, but I love the idea. I love that you're turning here. There you go. This would be another situation. And this is a super awkward catch with ball cam on. Dang. You know what? For as awkward as that is, that was a pretty decent catch. I'm not going to lie. But you can tell, like, this would be so much easier. Oh, God. This is so weird with hard camera. But look, you can actually tell the lineup, right? That your car has to be on this right side of the circle for you to catch this and go down. So this would be so much easier with car camera. I'd say almost if anything, you have the ball on the ground here. So I wouldn't blame you if you tried to either just front flip this and try to bring it across the field to force him out of the net. But the fact that you're trying to go for a 50-50 or even push it into him like this, you're basically just giving him the ball at this point. Because how do I explain this? Okay, I like up until right here where you jump. I like the fact that you're actually being behind the ball and you're covering behind the ball, right? So that way he can't just drive it straight to your net. I like that. But since you're sitting right here, just stay here and just see what he does for half a second. If he turns away, then you can just keep going, right? And which is what he does. So if he turns and challenges you, well, then you're just sitting here sideways. If you don't commit to anything, if you don't jump, then you could just turn and drop back. You still have 90 boost, my guy. Like, you don't need to give the ball away just yet. I think you might be too afraid of the challenge that didn't happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, probably.
Because, yeah, now you had 90 boost. You literally had ball possession, but you were too afraid of the challenge that you instead now have a worse outcome now that you have 100 boost, but you gave him boost and ball possession. I like this challenge, though. Now he's identified that he doesn't have a lot of boost. So there you go. You better take his freaking boost. Okay, thank you. There you go. So this is a situation, again, where he does not demand a lot of respect. There you go. I like it. I was going to say you could have taken his boost there, but I like that you're prioritizing the ball. Dang. Really, really good hit. Execution, 8 out of 10. Idea, probably 8 out of 10 as well. You could have taken his boost.
I probably would have went for that shot in twos.
Sure.
Since it's one.
Yeah, honestly, that hit is perfect. The only difference is that this hit is really hard, right? So I'm thinking in my head, like, okay, what would I do? At this situation, you have to be confident enough. Now, the difference between this platinum hit right here, where you know it's going to hit here and then kind of land somewhere here in the air, is that you have to keep boosting after it, right? Now you can see by the time the ball goes this way, you're still like lollygagging behind the play as it bounces out. So as you hit it forward, you have to be confident enough to match the ball in the air, because then you can just shoot it straight in the net. So that's the difference between this platinum game and maybe like a GC game that I would play in, is you have to kind of be confident enough to match the ball speed here, because now the fact that you're lollygagging behind, it's already being ahead of you, and you don't have the opportunity to score anymore. So again, let alone though the fact that this, with a caveat that this is again a 1v1, and if you're not confident in going for it and you just miss, then you're out of the play and he's likely scoring against you. So take my words with a grain of salt, but hopefully that makes sense, that if you are confident enough, this is definitely scoreable. But I like the fact that if you're not 100% sure, you don't go for it, which is always the safer play. There you go. I would say almost if anything, notice how he's still boosting towards the ball, and you're still turning on it as he's about to get a hit, right? There's a chance that he actually still bumps this over you towards the net, right? If you turn and try to go for it, which is a little dangerous. So I would say, if anything, don't turn towards the play just quite yet. You should wait for him to get his next hit and see where the play goes. Again, it's all about that information gathering, right? It's that little like positional difference. I'd say, if anything, grab the 100 here. Use like a puff of boost. Grab the 100 here and go parallel along this way until he gets a hit, because then you'll know, okay, if it drops to the ground like right here, then you can turn and go. It's much safer that way. You see how the difference is just is huge there, in just that like half-second difference in the challenge, or even your turn, right? The difference is like huge. Because now look, yeah, you turn towards the plate as he gets a hit. Now you have to turn back still and see where, if he, imagine if he got another hit, you'd have to be beelining it back for a save. So it's all about just how much info you have at any point. Let me kind of, again, you have a decent catch here, but look how far, I'd say the difference here is knowing that, super awkward as the ball warps in. Knowing that you have to keep turning left. You're turning left here, but you stop. Look how you go straight. If you kept turning left, you could have had a perfect catch, and this ball, I guarantee you, would have been glued to your car like this. As you bring it around, this would have been much safer. Because now the fact that you give him space, I think that's probably why you lose this 50-50, if anything. Because now that you have space in between you. Now he has an opportunity to hit it before you do, right? Whereas if you had total ball control, he'd be hitting a brick wall. So now the fact that you have space, he has the opportunity to hit it just like a little bit towards you in the direction that he wants. So I bet you that's why you lost this 50-50. Yeah, because look, he hit it first before you. So that's exactly right. And you didn't get the amount of touches that you wanted on it. So at that point, I'm not even going to lie, it's a bit nitpicky on my side, but I usually call that a handshake because it actually bounces back and forth rather than an actual 50-50 where you hit the ball at the same time. There you go. That's a good challenge.
My partner actually tries to cut it all the time when we play ones,
Sure.
so I became a little bit more
Comfortable
able
with
to read that.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I like the fact that it's very subtle, but look, he's actually traveling back this way, right? It's one thing if he was actually pushing it like horizontally and he was slowly turning it like this towards your net. That's a way more dangerous ball. But even if you lose this, like look, he's going like this. So at best, he turns it like this. Because then at best, you can still turn around and go. And you're not really committing as much here. So I like the fact that you challenge as he's like kind of going sideways or even slightly backwards here. So it's very subtle, but I want you to know that that's why it's also partially a good challenge here. And again, you challenge when the ball, after he gets his touch and you know where it's going. There's that information gathering, right? So there you go. Oh man, take his boost, please. You should have taken it earlier. Look it. You don't know where he's at. Your first priority, since the ball is going this way, you can't score this immediately. Your first priority would be screw the play, grab his boost, turn around, and then if the ball bounces back out, then you score it. But you can't score this immediately. It's not going to bounce out hard enough for you to be able to take a shot on net. So just take his boost, please. It's been a couple times now that's happened. Because look it. There's an opportunity where he's beating you to this. Now, again, had he gone like this, he could just boom this to his corner. Cross field, right? That's another opportunity where you've given him potentially boost and ball possession all in one go. On this left side, actually, this has now been the second or third time this has happened. There you go. I actually like that catch. I actually really like that catch with ball cam on because the difference here is that you have to kind of keep an eye on him because look at, as the ball comes down, you can see him in your field of view this whole time. So this would be a situation where I would keep ball cam on and you make a good touch because then you know, okay, I need to follow it and I need to go for it again as he's coming to the ball as well. So that's why it's a really good challenge. There you go. I like the pressure. Run over his boost just in case it spawns. Not bad. And you haul ass. There you go. And you make a good challenge. The timing. Okay. He's got it on the ground. Doesn't demand a whole lot of respect. It's still on the ground. He's trying to cut it towards you. Good time to challenge. There you go. If anything, I would argue that doing a front flip here would be better. Because, look, by the time you actually hit this ball, he doesn't cut it towards you, right? So the only time that this would be beneficial is if you actually hit the side of your car and you flip it sideways to go this way. But I know the timing is very, very finicky here, right? But you basically want to get behind the ball by the time you side flip, right? So that way you push it more towards his net. You can really cover the whole backside of the ball. In this case, I would argue almost just front flip, because then say you hit like this side of the ball and you front flip again, you're covering the backside of the ball, and you're covering the whole net behind it. Your first priority, pretty much no matter what, should be to not get scored on here. So flipping left, you can see how even that flip I consider greedy, because inherently it means that you think you're confident enough to get this past him at any point. That's why I don't generally like when people front flip on kickoffs. It's inherently greedy, even though you may not know it. It's the fact that you think that you can front flip, and then even just generating more power with the front flip behind the ball is good enough for you to just win, when most of the time it's not. You can see how many times you front flip on kickoff and you still lose. You can see how many times you flip towards the ball to try to just beat him as best you can, and you still don't even win. So it doesn't happen very often that you front flip through a 50-50 like that and you win. So it's just generally not smart. There you go. I like it. Force him out. Okay, yeah, this would be a situation where at this point, once you know he's not challenging, just cut behind the ball and bring it this way. Take the boost and then just keep going midfield. The second you put this on the wall, then you have to come back down and still catch it and keep ball control and come back mid ideally. And all the time that happens, he can just turn around and go for you. And the worst case scenario I can see from happening this, that might be realistic, is that you go up the wall. By the time you catch it, again, say you tried to catch it right here. Say he tries to challenge you right here, and you're on the wall. You're trying to come down this way, and he's trying to come at you this way. That would be super awkward. It might come straight to your net. You know what I mean? That might be awkward. I could definitely see that happening. So that's why it's kind of dangerous here. You have a lot of space, so you don't need to take up too much space to bait him in to go on the wall here, right? So the second you have this, I would just cut back mid. So now look, he's dropping back to his net, and you have an awkward catch again. And now what happened? Now he basically knows what's happening. The ball is rolling this way, and you're rolling it towards him. If he's smart, he'd be kind of pushing up at you right now, and this would basically just be a free take from him. And all that happened just because you almost gave up ball possession here. Because you went on the wall. Ooh, there you go. Okay. I like your shadow here because he's not in a threatening position. He's going sideways. And he may have the ball in his car, but I like the fact that you slow down here. You brake and you match the ball speed. That's really good. Because that way you can wait to see what happens. Again, now this is the idea that you wait to see what's going to happen. You give yourself more info to work off of, the common theme. Then you go for it. Then you know if you can go for it, right? You help yourself. Again, I think you can take his boost. Please. I can't believe I'm saying this, but this may be one of the only couple times that I would say go for the boost over the ball sometimes.
Okay.
Ooh, okay, so this now look again, this is kind of what I'm talking about. It's not as severe, but now look at, you're going towards the goal straight on. Now look where you're at. I'm not saying to take this as law, but now imagine like this ball is rolling this way. Now imagine the ball is here. He can go this way, or he can go this way. It's super awkward for you because your camera is reversed. You can go left or right. Again, I just talked about this like at the beginning of the replay, but this is where you don't want to be. Again, I was going to say take his boost and just keep going down this way, right? As he brings the ball midfield, that's when you also shadow and either challenge early or challenge on the goal line. But now the fact that you cut in mid, you left him in the mid boost. That's number one. You didn't take his boost. That was actually number one. That's number two. And you're cutting in midfield already too early. Because now, what if he starts going this way? You have to turn left. Well, then what if he's able to get a cut in mid? Then you're screwed and you have to kind of turn around again. So you see, there's just so much complexity here in like your positioning. Whereas if you just take this boost and you challenge and you drive this way, well, then if he keeps pushing into your corner, then take your boost again. Then he's pushed up in your corner in the safest spot that you can be. and you have 100 boost, and you forcibly bring him into your position, so that way if you get a good 50, you can just drive it straight into his net. If you start challenging like this or start driving back like this, if he cuts back mid, that's when again you say you can challenge early, or if we go for the goal line save. See how much simpler that is? Where all you have to do is just knowing where to go. But this is so much easier to read than, okay, do I go left? Do I go right? Can I challenge early this way? Do I have to challenge early this way? You know, there's the 4 possibilities here is just so much harder to read, all from a single point in this rotation. So that's where you do not want to be. On top of the fact that you left him boost. So
I'm being a team player, that's all.
yeah, yeah, in the worst way possible, unfortunately, you know. But does that make sense? I hope that really, I think that's a good demonstration so far of what I mean about like why you don't want to rotate like this. Because now look, yeah, you're going left, you're going right, you're trying to figure out where he's going. This is already way more complicated. And even though he doesn't have the mechanics to kind of do anything, you can see that you were swerving left and right. You were trying to figure out what he's gonna do. It's so much harder to read. So nice job on scoring that. But again, just based off of like how much info you had to process there, you're just putting too much burden on your brain. Ooh, wobbly kickoff. Again, that's why I say try to simplify it. You can take this boost at okay, yeah. Front flip on the kickoff. I think we talked about that already, especially on that straight by one. At this point, you know that he's grabbing this boost pad over here, so I would recommend to just take this pad. And if you want, you have 2 options. If you're good at catching the ball, which I think you've kind of demonstrated that you're not confident at catching it at this angle, your first option would be to kind of catch it and go like this and turn around. That would be the quicker, I'd say, probably more higher level play, to kind of turn around and have a quicker offensive play. I'd say your better option at this rank, more realistically, is to just take this boost and do a little J turn like this. He's still not very likely to challenge you, and then you can wait for this ball to roll on the ground. Then you can take the ball on the ground and start going mid with it. So that way you just wait for the ball to go on the ground, and all you got to do is just turn around and take it. See how easy that is? Mm-hmm. I will say I like the fact that you do wait, and you have the same idea. You know, the fact that you wait for the ball to go mid, and I bet that's what happens here is I bet you turn this way. But I think you can kind of optimize it. You're taking this boost, so that way in case he does challenge, you don't want him to have it, especially the fact that you have only 17 boost, my guy. Why not take it? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because now you challenge. You have 20 boost. Now imagine if he gets a good hit here, which he almost does. Now you're forced to kind of be on defense there if he gets a decent hit. So it's just that you can prevent all of that happening. I like the boost grab. There you go. You can prevent all that from happening if you just kind of have a little bit better pathing. Again, how do I feel about this? I think this is probably a symptom of not knowing where your car is in relation to the ball, like we talked about with the car cam and the ball cam and stuff like that. Just being able to read in general, I'd say. Being comfortable with something like this. This will come more. This kind of play will happen, or this kind of read will happen more with time, where you're able to kind of get a really good clean on this, a clean hit on this. So I don't really know how much I will grill you on that. I will say again though, notice how as the ball comes, let me switch back to my mouse. As the ball comes out, the reason this is kind of awkward is because you're trying to stay underneath the ball, right? Look, as the ball goes away, you're still trying to close the distance. But that is the difference, because now as you stay underneath the ball, your view stays like this. Whereas if the ball comes out here and you actually drive like this and behind it, your camera view becomes much wider like this, much more horizontal, right? Rather than vertical. So you'll be able to process a lot more if you don't stay close to this ball. And I would argue that that would be a smarter play in this situation, is just kind of drive back like this. Or I'd say, if anything, stay on this boost pad and just kind of brake. Just sit right here for a second. Not entirely stopping, but just slow down right here. Because then you'll take this boost and you can still turn towards the play, but if you slow down enough, you'll know that if he cuts back that you can still go forwards. Or if he takes it to the corner, then you can kind of race for your boost, right? It's, again, the idea that you wait for something to happen, then you make a more informed decision. Because, as this ball comes out here this way, if you try to stay close to it, your vision stays like this and you have way less info to work off of. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
Okay. Again, I think this can all be kind of bypassed with the idea that that, again, you can kind of jump up. You have 74 boost, so this is a perfect opportunity to just boom this past him. But that's a more high-level hit, I'd say. So all that processing, like I just said, can all be negated if you can actually get the read and meet this ball in the air. So, again, take all that with a grain of salt. But hopefully that makes sense as far as the information and all that stuff. So yeah, very risky. Again, you didn't have a whole lot of info, and you kind of bet your chances that you were able to get a good hit. So, all right, let's see here. Oof.
We don't got to talk about that.
Actually, I would argue, again, very similar to this to the other situation. I'm gonna go into fly view for a second. I would argue. Let me go to wider view, field of view here. Oh my God. Please, this one. Okay. I would argue again, if you can kind of see what I'm doing. Same thing as before. Car's here. Just have the front of your car hit the front circle. It will literally just roll in the net. Obviously, not saying that you would score it, but this is then okay. What if you add a front flip here? You might score it. You'd have a better opportunity. You'd still have a way better opportunity than what happened here because you didn't. You had zero opportunity now that you missed it. So, again, I think there's the idea that if you are being comfortable with taking ball cam off, right, you negate a lot of that processing that needs to happen because, again, your field of view is like this for a short amount of time. It's very hard to read, especially as you come off the corner. So, I like the idea. I want player cam. My bad. Replay skills. I like the hit. Take his boost, please. For the love of God, take his boost. You didn't. You had a good hit here. Boost. Use the rest of your boost to take this boost. You can actually still go around like this and say you catch it here. Again, I'm talking like ideally this is what would happen. But take his boost. Multiple times now I've said that. I think this is kind of, I don't want to say rare, but now look, you not only got a bump, I'm really surprised he didn't take that boost, to be honest with you, but he has to prioritize the save at this point. But yeah, now, oof. I know you score here because of the timeline, but oh man, you got really lucky that he just gave away this ball. And look, not only did he give you the ball, he actually backed off with zero boost. What are the chances that this would happen in 10 seconds left in the game?
Like I told you, I barely won this game, so.
Yeah. Oh my lord. I hope that you can identify that should not happen in most cases.
Yes.
So, yeah. Welcome to Platinum again. Ooh, okay. I like the fact that you went back and he's got to get a save. To be honest with you, I wouldn't mind if you stayed here actually. Let's watch this from this view. Let me go back to I think it's 95 or 90. I think this is default view. Look how much space he stays on this. I wouldn't mind if you actually just took this boost and drove at the ball here. Cuz now let's watch this from like this perspective for just a second. So we got the kickoff, right? Let's watch, let's do fly view on the ball. Oh God, how do I do this? Okay, I want to go down. I think you get the idea. Yep, right here. Okay, so let's say you have ball cam on and you just sit here. Now you attack the ball. You have 2 seconds. Even if you just literally wait here and wait for him to challenge, then you literally just jump up and hit the ball as hard as you can off the sidewall. Boom. That's a clear out center with 2 seconds left. You win the game. Whereas what you did is you gave space, which was good, you know, when you're not confident in like winning a 50-50 or whatever, right? There's a lot of uncertainty here. But the fact that now that you give him space, now he has 100 boost and he's able to take the shot. I think you kind of get what I'm saying. is that now he has 100 boost and he can take a shot on your net with 2 seconds left. That's not a very good setup. You know what I mean? For you, anyway. The fact that you have distance and now he's got a decent shot. So, and again, you still had to make a really good save for this, mind you. So, yeah, I bet you're clenching your cheeks there in that last save for sure.
Like, every game I'm
Yeah.
about to win, this
Yep.
situation kinda happens a lot, so
Sure. Okay. So yes, I think especially with the 2 seconds left, I wouldn't have minded if you just sat here or here and just go for the ball, right? Just hit it as hard as you can off the wall, because then there's no way if you hit it out midfield that he's going to be able to catch it and go. So yeah, I'd say that would be one opportunity. If you just watch, again, there's the idea that you just watch and see what happens. And if you pick up 12 or 24 from this pad or this one, then then you just kind of see and you can go. You don't need, maybe 12 would be fine for this. You don't need much more than that. So, unless this is on the wall and he can go for a shot off the wall, then okay, yeah, you drop back. I'd say that'd be the one opportunity where you just go back. But since this bounces off the wall pretty hard, you could afford to just go straight for this. Don't even give him the chance, So yeah, I think that's all I got. Talk about the save. Really good. Honestly. Okay, ideally, one last thing before we finish the replay. Ideally, you would be braking here. You can see you still have a lot of forward momentum, right? So by the time you hit it, you actually hit the underside and you hit it kind of almost center, right? So that way by the time it'll land right here, I bet. Which is dangerous, right? Because then he still has a line to your goal. Ideally, at a high level, you would stop here. You would literally hit the brakes, wait for this to come to you, and you hit this right here, and you hit it to your corner. It's the safest place for you to hit this. Because you don't want to kill it. You don't want to kill it with your wheels, right? Say you hit it with your wheels, it'll land literally right here, and he can, if he breaks, he lands here, and then he's got a free shot to your net. And I like what you did. You popped it to the ceiling, so it's much harder for him to read, but this is still dangerous. I hope you can recognize the fact that this still sits in your midfield like this, especially after you make the save, but you have 0 boost, it'd be really dangerous. It's just a dangerous combo in general. So, safest play is to just put this to your corner. That's all I got to say. Simple enough. So yeah. Because yeah, look at, you barely got that to your corner, actually. Holy. And he almost got it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, he still almost got that. Holy. That was stressful for me, and even I knew he didn't score, and I was still stressed that he was going to score. I hope you know that. Okay. I think that's all I got. Do you have any questions or anything? Did anything I say not make sense?
I think it all made sense.
No. It's interesting. All right, so I'm going to go into free play real quick. I'm going to kind of cover just a general thing of what I said before about matching the ball height, and then we'll go over some ball handling skills like dribbling and catching and stuff. The one thing I would say as far as shooting and getting used to jumping and meeting the ball height is what I did earlier. If you have Baka's mod installed, which you should, go into free play and just drive at the ball and press down on your thumb or your D-pad, and it will throw the ball up at you. Then you should just focus on getting hard hits with your corner. You don't even have to, with the corner of your car. You don't even have to aim at the net like I'm doing here. Just focus on hitting it with the corner of your car and getting those diagonal flips at the ball. Right? So you can do front flips and stuff like that all day, but that's not, your setup like that is not going to come where it's straight at the net like this all the time. Right? Especially if you come like this, you really want to get hitting the corner of your car. So that's the difference in shooting, right, between the lower ranks and champ, is being able to shoot like that consistently, right? That's the difference. So we'll just watch that. Boom, straight in the net. So that I would say probably be similar, like you said, similar to Coco's training, right? Of being able to shoot with power like that. I really like this exercise because it actually, I would say, is almost better than Coco's training because it's more applicable to in-game, right? It's more translatable because you actually do have a ball and you have a net to shoot on. So, if anything, it's just about as hard as you want to make it, right? So you can come in from the side and try to shoot like that. Again, from any angle, right? Being able to shoot with the corner and with power and not hitting the ground, that's huge. Like that was
Yeah.
just a beamer straight in net. Guarantee you that would have been a goal every time on your opponent before and once, right? So that's the difference of being able to shoot like that. So that's number one. I'd say that's probably the simplest thing that you could work on. And you can, if you want to come up a little closer to the ball, it'll kind of shoot it a little higher. That way you can kind of focus on those like higher shots like that. So yeah, that's probably the easiest. I'd probably say number one. Actually, similarly, let's actually apply that to catches. So you can practice catching the ball with ball cam on like this. I'm actually fairly comfortable with, believe it or not, I'm fairly comfortable dribbling like this. Honestly, at any point, you can literally just press down on your D-pad and just try to catching the ball. That would, honestly, if you want to just do repetition like that, you know, say you try to catch it, you want to go for a flick, or say you go for a hard hit, then just press down and just go for the catch at any given point, right? Like that. Try to kill it without letting it hit the ground. So I go for a flick. All right, now I go for the catch. Dang, that was 2 good flicks in a row. But being able to catch it, being able to flick it all again without letting it hit the ground, even something like this, right? Being able to do the drift catch, all that sort of stuff. So I could do anything from flicking it. Okay, then I turn around. I could make it super awkward. Go for the catch that way, you know, do Ranny's drift catches, right? So you get the idea. You can really utilize the down arrow. Most people are familiar with spawning the ball on their car, but most people don't use the down one. Getting catches. So I'd say that's probably the best thing as far as like learning to catch the ball. The other exercise that I think, I don't know if it might be too hard for you, would be to just hit the ball on the wall like this, turn ball cam off, and try to catch it this way. Like landing on the ground like I just did. And again, you don't have to aim towards the net at all. But what this will do is this is the compound exercise, so that way it'll get you used to catching the ball on the ground and just prioritizing getting to the ball quickly.
Yeah.
But it'll also get you to go up on the wall, to hit it off the wall, and to follow after it and catch it. So there's like a whole compound thing there where, well, like I said before, if you're confident enough to go for the ball in the air, well, then you can transition to catching it like this. Then I keep control. Then that's where it's really diddly. Now, that's the difference between like platinum in ones and champion ones. So say I don't have a good air drag, well, now I can go like this, and I can get a flick on that or whatever, right? Applicable for you probably is just getting used to just dribbling more, I'd say. I didn't really see you go for like a whole lot of flicks or like, you know, cuts like this.
I've recently started within the past 2 days going for more flicks, so I think that's
okay.
a 3 or so day replay.
Gotcha.
I actually hit a musty on my partner
Ooh,
yesterday, so
nice.
and I've hit a 180 in a game before too. So
Nice. Awesome.
um,
Let's just start from the ground up, right? Like if you're able to pick up the ball up off the ground, right? Getting it rolling, going ahead of the ball, and then just driving straight at it. You don't have to jump or do anything. You just pop the ball up like that, and then you can focus on the catch. Then it's just trying to keep dribbling all the way down the field like this. A lot of people, what you can do then at that point is just try to dribble the whole length of the field without dropping the ball, right? If you get really good at that, then you can try to add turns into it. So say you pick up the ball up, and then you try to go down the length of the field. Well, then just, you know, try to go left or right now that you're good at going straight. And then try to turn and around and do another length of the field over and over again. What you can also do as far as like picking the ball up and doing turning at the same time is just instead of going ahead of the ball, you go along the side of it and match the ball speed. And again, you don't have to use any boost whatsoever. You can just turn into it. Pick the ball up. Now, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to try to dribble without boost.
yes, that's my biggest problem.
Okay.
Within the actual bounce dribble and just regular dribble, the boost is what kills me because I can't really. I slow down and then speed up and slow down and speed up, so it's
Right.
like I said earlier, it's a mess.
Yep. That'll really help you because especially when you get the ball on the ground, it'll really force you to stay with the ball like this. Because then if you start boosting too much, well, then you start getting really fast and you just lose ball control, right? So if you can, even if you drop the ball, you got to be really like hard-headed and just be like, okay, I'm gonna buckle down. I'm gonna not spawn the ball in my car. It's so easy to cheat with Bake's mod nowadays that if you don't do that and you don't get the ball in your car like this and you're not used to picking the ball up, I mean, you can do everything from this position. I can do like little bounce dribbles. You know, I can do backflip flicks. Like, dude, that almost hit the freaking ceiling. That was crazy. You get the idea that like there's a lot that you can do. In a lot of my dribbling videos, I try to emphasize that, especially if you're good at picking the ball up with zero boost like this, if you continue turning like this, if you get really good at doing circles and picking the ball up, and your goal should be to try to boost with, or try to dribble without boost and try to do as many circles as you can without letting it hit the ground. Then again, we're kind of using the compound idea that if we keep building on that, okay, you can pick the ball up, you can carry it on your car, you can turn on it. Well, then we can add side flip flicks. You get really comfortable where you can instead now turn through the ball and flip through it. So now we turn left, but we turn underneath it, and as we go underneath it, we flip through it to the side. A lot of people, what they do is they get in the habit of front flip flicking, especially in ones, right? So if I front flip flick this, okay, that was terrible. Generally, if you front flip flick the ball, you're getting rid of it, right? So now I flick it, now I have to go after it too much. I have to go after it pretty deep to score it, which is not what you want. So if I front flip flick this or whatever, if I flick it, well, then I'm getting rid of ball possession. Whereas if I'm dribbling like this and a guy comes and challenges me, I can go like this, I can side flip flick, and I can follow it much easier that way. Because the side flip flick actually allows me to stay underneath the ball a lot more. Like this. So now I stay really close to it. And even more to emphasize that point, backflip flicks are actually the thing that I do the most in ones. So if anybody ever checks out my games on ballchasing.com or ever sees a replay analysis of my own stuff, you'll see that I do this often, where I'll be dribbling at an opponent and I'll backflip flick like this. Well, now that's an easy goal for me, because I'm not giving them ball possession. If I flick at them like this, I'm literally saying, here, have an opportunity to save this. You don't want to do that. Even when you're shooting, I want to flip to the side. Then I can shoot over them. All that matters is that I get the ball around them. And especially if I can follow it, then if I can do something like this and they commit, boom, that's a goal. There's the shooting. Again, that's all compounding, like I said, from being able to match the ball speed, being able to pick it up off the ground, being able to flick it really well, being able to match the ball speed, or being able to match the ball height and hitting it really hard into net. That's basically all high-level gameplay is right there, right? It's all compounded off of those basic ideas.
Okay.
There you go.
Speaking about double taps, there was this one opportunity in the replay. If you recall that opportunity. And doing it in free play, how can I practice that more? Because with the two-touch drill,
Yep.
I can do the two-touch drill pretty consistently, but level 2, where you have to jump after you touch it, it gets a little bit more challenging because I can't really.
Are you talking
the
about the
ball
time
after
when
that.
it was kind of on the side like this and you did like this, where you didn't jump
Yeah,
after it like that
yeah,
opportunity?
yeah.
Yeah, so honestly, literally, you can just try to repeat that process, right? I don't know if you ever actually downloaded the plugin for the free play checkpoint or whatever it was called. I think it was the free play checkpoint, yeah. Try to get...
I didn't have time yesterday, but
Yeah,
I
I honestly, I just downloaded it yesterday too myself, so I haven't really played around with it a whole lot. I messed around with it just a little bit just to get familiar with the bindings and whatnot, but I haven't actually used it a whole lot yet. But I can say right now, though, is literally just try to repeat that process. Go on the right side, drive towards the wall, use your right side or right button on your analog on your stick or D-pad. Oh my god, I can't talk. Use right on your D-pad and it will spawn the ball like this rolling. Then just keep practicing this over and over. The main thing is to just double jump, right? That's where like matching the ball height really comes into play, because now I know that I have to match the ball height there. It just makes it so much easier to read. That's the very first part about always reading the ball, because no matter what, if I'm hitting this underneath the ball, I'm just shooting this to the sky, right? And if I hit it down to the ground, it's like, okay, well, that's not a very good shot, right? If I'm just double jumping like this and I just kill it in front like that, well, that's going to get saved. Even at plat level, right? If he's sitting in that, he'll be ready for that. So it's all about just matching the ball height, right? Being able to hit in the middle of the ball every time. So that's number one. If you flip into it, right? So actually the same idea applies, right? So imagine this is imagine if this is the wall. If you jump first before you get to the ball, you're just going to roll into it, right? So the same thing applies on the wall here. So if I'm going and I jump and flip into it, it's going to stay along the wall, right? It's not going to go towards the net where we want. So if the ball is rolling and we want to hit this towards the net, generally speaking, you just want to hit into it like that. See how much farther out that comes? Especially if I don't commit on the wall and I just follow after it. If I just clang it like that. Well, then now, again, there's your two-touch training coming into play. That's a much better setup, I should say, for your read, rather than what you did earlier, is you tried to just clang it off the wall. Sometimes you don't always have that setup, right? So if I'm coming in like this, and the ball is like this, sometimes you don't always have the setup. No matter how hard I try, I may not actually be able to get that on target right away. So don't try to forcefully like flip into the ball all the time. If you just clang it and you hit it hard, then just follow up, right? Then go down the wall and try to do what I did there. That's a much smarter play than trying to take yourself out, right? So I'll do the different play, what you did earlier, is you just try to flip into it. Well, now look, I'm following the ball too much. Look where I land. I have like maybe 2 car lengths of space between me and the ball. Now look, it's already behind me, right? So if you don't do that and you just drive into it on the wall, especially when it's rolling, mind you, that's kind of what I'm focusing on. If it's rolling, then you just generally just want to hit into it.
Do you mind doing one quick thing
Yeah,
real
sure.
quick?
Depending on what it is.
Can you go to Dribble Overhaul 2 and
Yeah.
do level 18?
Oh, yeah,
Because
for
I
sure.
can't get past level 18.
Sure. Let me
Um,
actually I'm going to switch my preset. Custom, workshop, level 18, this one.
yes.
Okay. So generally speaking, I go left here because every time you reset this one, the pillars, every time you reset, the pillars are also respawned at their specific time. So this will be the same every time you start this level. So generally speaking, I try to drive and keep ball cam off, like I said. Hit the left side of the ball, and you'll automatically, you don't have to go very far, but you'll already be set up. So that way, all you got to do is just correct a little bit to the middle of the ball, then drive it to the left just a little bit, and I typically double jump. So again, that's where the dribble practice comes in, of being able to pick the ball up, being able to turn where you want, double jump and catch it. Then the rest of it is just the timing. I know the pillars kind of suck for a lot of people here. Again, here's where, again, you don't have to dribble with boost. If you just take it slow. A lot of people go really fast. If you can get really good ball control and you can really just nail this down, it's pretty simple, in my opinion. The hardest part is definitely getting around this bend. Just being really consistent.
So I can do the false part, but when I get to this bend, those pillars are moving way too fast for my amount of ball
Honestly,
control
you
I
don't
have.
need, slow down. Then right as they open up, that's when you can flick it. So if you
Okay.
can get past this, that's where, again, you might be going too fast because then you don't have as much control as you probably think you do. If you really just slow down, you look at the pillars and be like, okay, opening up in not this one. I'm going to go to the next one. There you go. I can actually just drive it straight in. If you slow down, you'll give yourself more time to actually process what's going on.